Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know this is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's 9 p.m. on a Thursday, and they call me Chris of the Northwest. We're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here, geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the world. So while you're staring up at Venus in the night sky, you're doing it right now. We'll be caching in the Northwest.
Oh, yes, indeed. It's Thursday night, and tonight we're talking with Limax, our geocaching mathematician, because, well, it is all about the numbers. As always, live audience, share your numbers with us and your thoughts about numbers and the sums and additions and all those things
Your
that go
sons,
along
your
with
daughters.
them. Something. No, just the numbers.
Okay.
But of course, we can't do that until we bring in our squared squirrel monkey. Some say he groans louder than your grandpa when he sits down. And others say 52% of all pumpkins in British Columbia have his face carved into them. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
52%, hey?
We did the math.
Yeah.
Did you? Seems like a believable statistic. All right. Well, hey, good to be back this week. Interesting show last week. So folks who live in the thanks.
He can confirm. Yeah,
The research
Rylan
department.
can confirm the face carving.
that's right.
Yeah,
You got better teeth in person, though.
he's a face carving. All right. Anyways, yeah.
What did we talk about last week?
Last week,
WSGA.
yeah, particularly for folks who are
Year two.
planning to do some caching in the Northwest. Good to know the updated deets all about the geo tours. So that was great. Thank you very much for arranging that show. That was some good info. Speaking of good info, well, let me tell you, dear listener, that this is the point in the show where we provide a quick reminder of how much we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. Thanks to Land Sharks, one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. Remember to check them out online and check out landsharkz.ca and travel.landsharks.ca for all the big adventures they're planning. Also, Gold Country Geotourism. Visit exploregoldcountry.com. Learn about the geotours. Learn about the region. Do not forget to download the app. Check them out on Facebook and online at exploregoldcountry.com. All right. Well, some fun stuff going on there. And if you want to know more about supporting this show, well, head over and click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
Thank you so much. Now, folks, it's time for a glow. And some may ask, what is a glow?
What is a glow?
What is a glow?
See, all the people seem to be asking, what is the glow? Well, the glow is the geocaching log of the week. So whether you wrote it or whether you read it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a recording. Yeah, right there on your smartphone. Send that recording. Well, not that one, but the one you're going to make because that one's not appropriate for, it's not safe for work.
All right. Well, I'll just file that one then.
Yeah, but the one you're going to do when you're talking about geocaching, perhaps you've got a milestone you've come across, right? Every number is a unique number.
Is
That's what
it?
I've heard.
Yeah. Numbers don't tend to repeat themselves,
I don't know.
except in patterns.
I look at my
I was gonna
watch.
say, I mean, if
Same
you're
number a couple
if you're
of times.
counting to 4 and repeating that, well, of course that's a pattern, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pattern. There you go. Okay. But send them to feedback@cachingnw.com or call into 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
Well, let's see. Glow this week from Starkcacher, who found Schoolhouse Rugs. It's not really spelled correctly, but You get the idea. Schoolhouse Rocks. No E. Put a Z on there. Anyway, you can look it up at GC Alpha Delta Tango 16. And Starcacher says, I am from Toledo. I saw this geocache get published just before one of the weekly geocaching podcasts that I usually watch live, Geocache Talk Deep Dive. That's Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday's a good night for podcasts, just saying.
It really is.
I am currently on a 40-month-long monthly FTF streak, and I want to keep that streak going. I had not yet gotten an FTF this month, so I was closely monitoring all newly published area caches. I saw this geocache was available 24/7, and I am known in the area for grabbing an FTF in the middle of the night, as I'm a night owl. And that is one of the only ways to beat out many of the area FTF hounds. This cache was a bit over 21 miles away as the crow flies and a bit over 28 miles away via the roads. There was a good possibility that one of the FTF hounds would grab this one in the first couple of hours. Did not want to make the long trip until I was fairly sure I could get the FTF, so I decided to wait until after the other Thursday evening, well, technically Friday geocaching podcast I usually watch live. That is the Caching in the Northwest podcast. That's Fridays at midnight Eastern, or as we like to say, Thursdays at 9 Pacific. I planned to go for this cache after the show if it had not been found. I mentioned in the live chat for the show that this 24/7 geocache had been published earlier in the evening and had not yet been found, and that I was going to go for it as soon as the show ended. I was wished good luck by many of the chat participants in the show.
Good luck. I was recreating the event.
It's like I was there.
Yeah.
I left home about 1:20 a.m. and headed this way. I drove through several rain showers along the way, parked by the church about 400 feet away, and started following the GPS. It did not look like any of the rain had fallen here. After initially heading too far west, I soon made my way to the ground zero area. With my headlamp blazing bright, I searched the obvious object, starting on the wrong side, of course, and within a minute, I had the cache in hand. But was I FTF? I check all sides of the two log sheets, and they were blank. Yay! The FTF streak is now at 41 months. Now I can relax for the rest of the month as far as FTFs are concerned. As usual, I give a favorite point for all my FTFs, but this one might have gotten one anyway.
Nice.
Oh, that is an adventure.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't need to be at work in the morning, at least not early in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That. You know what? That's really good commitment there, right? I mean, first of all, he made the good choice to listen to the podcast and then go geocaching. See how we inspire people to go geocaching?
Indeed.
Yes. We've
Nice
got
little
a lot of
comment,
puns
White
already going this evening.
White Coaster asked if the cache is near Conjunction Junction since it's called Schoolhouse
Schoolhouse
Rocks.
Rocks.
I love it.
It's at Lolly's.
Oh, yeah. You get your adverbs there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Wet Coaster says. I always get my adverbs there.
And as far as the glow goes, darn, that's the end.
I see what you did there.
Well played. Well
Okay.
played. Oh, GSM times 2 already has figured out what the hashtag is for the show. It's hashtag numbers if you wanted to add to tonight's show. Of course, you can also use hashtag FATAS if you want to bring up something after we're all done talking about numbers. Obviously, then we go into letters.
Sure.
No?
As one does.
GSM times 2 says, I was looking at the base of a tree today and found a square root.
It's fun.
Okay, folks. Here's the first thing about numbers. Well, this one comes from geocaching.com blog, and we're actually talking about numbers.
Okay.
In specific, we're talking about the Wheel of Challenges by the numbers.
Can you
Perhaps
say it
you've
that
read
way?
this blog post?
I saw that there was a blog post, but I didn't read it yet.
Well, let me read it to you.
Well, let's read it now.
After 6 months of exciting themes, Wheel of Challenges came to an end. Geocachers turned out by the thousands for each challenge, doing what they do best, getting outside, having fun, and finding geocaches. Let's take a look at some of the numbers from the Wheel of Challenges. I'm sorry, Wheel of Challenges.
Oh, now I recognize it.
Yeah, no, it's over, so I've kind of forgotten the theme of it already. The challenge with the most participants, and perhaps it was raining too, was seeking smileys, with geocachers earning souvenirs by increasing their find count by 5, 10, or 100 caches. Each challenge had souvenirs for different levels of difficulty. The easy challenge was the highest number earned souvenirs, or with the highest numbers earned souvenirs, was seeking smileys with 206,602. There seems to be some symmetry in those numbers.
Yeah, no kidding. So that's how. Okay, so hold on. I think I'm getting lost in the numbers here. So what they're saying
This was our first number.
This doesn't take me long to get lost in numbers. This is going to be an interesting show.
Okay.
So what we're saying is the souvenir that was earned the most, the most earned souvenir. So of the Wheel of Challenges souvenirs, which there's a whole bunch of souvenirs, the one, pour one for me too.
Yeah, thank you. I tried to do that away from the microphone. I guess I didn't get far enough away. There we go.
The one that was earned the most, the souvenir that was earned the most, was the Seeking Smileys Easy souvenir.
Right.
And that's the one with the symmetric number.
Exactly. 200.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking that was all three of them combined, is what I was thinking.
The way
Since
I'm
there was an
reading
easy,
it is
medium,
the
hard for
easy
the sequel.
challenge with the highest number of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Easy.
Yeah, the English is a little tricky there.
I was going to say, I mean, those are words. I do numbers.
Yeah, sometimes sentences are hard, and that one was a hard one.
Okay, so the next one, the hard challenge with the highest number of souvenirs earned, was teamwork makes the dream work. So the hard teamwork makes the dream work was 42,759 souvenirs.
Wow.
So when they say that many souvenirs earned, that means that many unique geocaching accounts earned the souvenir, right? That's what I think I'm reading there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Okay.
All right, so shall we? You want me to pick this up?
Please.
Okay. So that's the easy and hard most earned souvenirs. And even though the Streak Star Challenge, I can't remember which one that was. I guess that was like caching for a certain number of days. Even though the Streak Star Challenge had the fewest number of hard souvenirs earned, still over 15,000 geocachers completed a 28-day streak during the challenge time frame. Kudos, a round of applause for all those Streak Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Doug, for the golf clap. All right, and then Jim, do you want to take the top 5 countries?
The top 5 countries that earned the most souvenirs for Wheel of Challenges were. Let's start with number 5 and count down, shall we?
Yes.
Number 5 was the United Kingdom. Number 4, that would be France. 3, well, we went to the Netherlands. Coming in at number 2, right here, good old US of A. And number 1, any guesses? It's where
Canada.
It's where most geocoins
Brazil.
go to die. That'd be Germany. It's where my geocoin disappeared. I mean, geocoins that are out in circulation.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, because I think I'm curious about. I mean, obviously, the overall population of the USA compared to Germany, there's a lot more people in the USA. What do you guys got? Like 300,000 population? No, 300 million population, something like that.
There's somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
I wonder what Germany is. Research
Germany's
department.
less, but
Yeah.
German geocachers are some of the most enthusiastic.
Indeed.
True.
Yeah, I mean, even say the only really encounter I've had with them was at Geo Woodstock and at the celebration. And even then, that was just incredible, just how much I've seen that. And of course, I'm still getting Discover logs for my car
Same
from
here. Yeah.
Geo
Yes.
Woodstock.
At
Yeah,
the same, yeah. So here we go. Thank you very much, Brian. USA population 331.9 million in 2021. Same year, German population 83.2 million. Now, that doesn't. I mean, not every single person in the population is a geocacher.
What?
But they
Right?
should be.
I wonder if we can get the data. I wonder if the data is publicly available of how many people in each country is a geocacher. That would be,
it'd be interesting. Yeah, say looking at either percentage or the per capita numbers.
yeah.
Mhm.
To see, are there more German cachers per capita than there are in the United States? And I'm sure that's actually true because they've got less to begin with. So
Oh, good
it'd
point.
be
Oh,
easier for them to have a higher percentage.
Hmm.
Good point, Doug. Good point. This is why we got Doug here.
Yes.
Help
And-
us work through the numbers. We're
and I
going to
wanna
start. He's starting us in easy. I like this.
Yeah.
I'm good with this.
Statistics is my worst subject too.
Oh,
Statistically speaking. Well, there are 1,002,466 caches in the USA and only 434,000 caches in Germany. So
So that's
Little-
the physical caches, but
yeah, that's a little
player.
under half. But I don't know about the players, but the geography, that's 400 caches in a much denser area than
Yeah,
the
that's a good
million.
point if you think about it, because Germany is not half the size of the USA.
Right.
It's about I think it's about the size of Oregon, isn't it? Or oh no, maybe that was just West Germany. It was the size of Oregon.
Even so, even if it was twice the size of Oregon.
well, it's fourth of the amount of people, 1/4 of the amount of people. So hopefully it's 1/4 in size, and everything is equal. I don't think it is.
Well, say look at you look at the size of Australia compared to the United States,
Oh, it's
and
huge.
the disparaging, and you look at the disparity, excuse me,
Mm.
in the numbers between Australia population of Australia versus population of the United States. Now, of course, Australia has a lot of area that is considered uninhabitable too, though.
True.
Yeah. Well, it's like Canada, right? And Russia.
And
Well,
most of the large cities in the United States.
Detroit.
Yeah. Seattle, Portland, San Francisco.
Definitely San
Snorkel.
Francisco.
I can do this too.
No, but like, I'm just thinking like Canada and Russia, like huge countries, but the population for Canada, our population density is along the 49th parallel. Well,
Right. Yeah.
49th parallel up to a point, and then Ontario.
We don't.
You don't count Ontario.
we don't
Oh no,
talk
it's
about
just that the 40. Never. You know what I mean. We do.
Is that
count
Ontario,
We don't
Oregon?
count Ontario. I'm going to hear about it, so we're going to.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It's just easier to count them.
No, but it is interesting. Here you go. Bryling says the state of Montana is closest in size to the country of Germany.
Look at all the
Yeah.
facts coming out of the
Yeah.
research
You know,
department.
when-
I
one
think
thing
what it was is when I was in high school, East and West Germany were still split when I was taking
Mhm.
German. And I think at that point, West Germany was about the size of Oregon. And I could be misremembering. I mean, we're talking years ago. So
I'm
was-
sorry you broke up there.
that was a number, wasn't it? Somewhere
yes,
it was a number. So,
Hey, Doug, as we're working through some of these details we have in the notes here, there's some comments about the geocachers who were sent a survey. Did you want to read that out for us?
certainly. Yeah. 265,000 geocachers were sent a survey about their experience with Wheel of Challenges. In the survey responses, geocachers shared which challenges they enjoyed the most, and the 3 most popular were, in reverse order, number 3, iconic cacher. Number 2, seeking smileys. And the number 1 favorite was favorite fan.
Well, that seems appropriate, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
I was going to say, actually, of those, let's see, I know I earned at least, I think I earned all 3 for seeking smileys, and I think I earned one other. Summer was, well, it was summer.
Early on, a few moments ago, people were chiming in how many people got um, all the souvenirs. Starcasher says, I'm one of the 15,000 that got all of them.
Nice.
Meaning at least one souvenir in, were there 6 categories?
6 or 7,
6, yeah. And
I think 6.
Komakino. GSM times 2 says got 2, 7, or 27 or 28 days in 5 weeks. Not sure what that was about.
Numbers, I'm lost.
I thought I understood it when I looked at it, then I read it and I'm lost. Brian Link says, I too earned all of the Wheel of Challenges souvenirs.
So I just went and looked.
Got the souvenirs too.
Yeah. I've got these other souvenirs that are in the middle of it, breaking it all up, but I earned the Seeking Smileys easy and medium, and then I earned the Teamwork easy and hard. Teamwork easy and hard are the ones I earned.
Well done.
Good
Yeah.
job.
As Chris knows, Signals Labyrinth kind of broke me. So,
Hey, Doug, number 3 on that list of the survey. So was the iconic cacher, and that was, if I recall correctly, you had to find like 5 to 7, somewhere in there, different types of geocaches,
right,
to turn into different icons.
And they were specific types. I remember one of them, you had to have an event for sure.
Yeah.
It was one of ones that you
I think
had
it was
to have.
the easy was like event and adventure lab and tradition.
Yeah.
Or something like
It's
that.
like, and I was feeling antisocial, so it's not like I would have done that one anyway. But I think I probably, out of all the icons, that may have been the only one I didn't earn. I've got no idea. It was yeah. I was kind of burnt out after the end of Signals Labyrinth, and after missing the totals for the very last labyrinth for my spreadsheet, it broke me. it just broke me.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I had to recreate it as best I could. And Chris has a spreadsheet. I mean, I sent it to him, so, because he's the one that asked me to do it in the first place.
Did I? Did
Yes.
I ask?
Well, okay, you implied.
You delegated.
If somebody could.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On the iconic caches, on getting the different cache icons, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, for everything in the Wheel of Challenges, those same stats can be found on a regular basis in your geocaching stats.
You're what Project GC calls a busy day,
right?
I think you can.
So if you were looking for like a particular day, but in general, you can get in your geocaching stats page, and we are talking about stats tonight, stats and numbers, the total numbers of different cache types you've ever found. And I think it's interesting to see, and this is something else that I've seen with the or that I'm assuming based on the what's it called? The badges, the
souvenirs.
No. On Project GC, the badge.
Yeah, you got the badges and the belts. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what I'm thinking about is like different territories, different regions obviously have different overall percentages of those, of the finders of this is just my brain's getting messed up wrapping around this, but so the different percentages of the finds for those on an average across their geocaches, right? Because when they come up with you got to find, and I'm going to just throw out random numbers that are totally wrong, but you got to find 100 multis to get your first level in badge gen or something like that, right? Well, like where does that number come from? And I was thinking the same thing with the wheel of challenges that
Thank
the,
you.
the numbers they came up with, like um like find 5 for the easy, find 20 for the medium, and 100 for the hard, or whatever the numbers were. But like, I would imagine they'd have to do like a global statistical analysis of all the caching population to try and figure out those numbers. But Doug, what do you think? What would, from a mathematical perspective, what do you think the way that HQ might have done that would be?
That would probably be about the way. I'm sure that they kind of looked at what your casual cacher would do, what your semi-hardcore person would do, and what your hardcore person would do. Um, I that's what I would see. It's like, if I remember right, the badge gen and the belt information Project GC got from somebody else and incorporated it into
Hmm.
their software.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of totally blanking on this. I know that it had been discussed on it was actually probably on Geo Gearheads years ago. It's probably when that was discussed. But what I would assume that with what GCHQ did is they probably did go out and do something. And oh gosh, maybe Chris actually talked about it on Inside Geocaching HQ when he was talking with the Wheel of Challenges people. Because I think this came up, but there again, I just may be putting a false memory on what I'm thinking is happening.
Well, that's the beauty of being on a podcast. You can just say whatever you want now.
Right.
Yeah, it is now golden.
Throw out a stat and see if the research department wakes up there. And
So Doug, relying on your math skills, where I'm going with this, and
Mhm.
I'm taking an incredibly roundabout route to get there, as I often am known for doing, is those numbers. So if you've got like a easy, medium, and difficult, or easy, medium, hard for the challenges, and you're going to assign numbers to it, that, and this is something I always get confused on, is you would be looking at like a median. Is that the right term for?
Yeah, you'd be looking at a median as opposed to a oh god, what's the other term?
mean
An average
median.
mean. Yeah, you'd be looking at the median, which is would be the middle, as opposed to a mean, which is the average of it. So
Right.
yeah. And I know that they wanted to make these all achievable. They want, it's like the the streak one, whichever that one was called. I mean, 28 days. I mean, you would really have to be committed to do that now.
Or you'd be committed when you finished.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right in the middle of a 100-day streak, and I'm halfway through at this point. I'm not burnt out yet, but it's the first time I've actually tried to do this since 2013. So we'll see. And 2013 was a very bad year. That was the year of the 31 days of geocaching in August.
Oh, right. My gosh, I forgot about that already.
Yeah, no, that was the month I was going to take off, and then GCHQ put out, we've got a cat. I caught a souvenir for every single day. It's like, okay, if I don't get all of these, I'm going to be very upset with myself.
So is that a new challenge you're working on right now?
I am working on a new challenge. You can blame the Bruce Zero for this one.
Oh, okay.
Which actually I can blame you for this one because you had him on this show.
We did.
But yeah, this has to do with the Cache the Line stuff that he's doing. One of the cores that he has is called the Iron Core, and that is for his Iron Bingo Challenge.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me get the GC number for that is GC3 Delta 5 Echo Bravo. And what he, in order to earn the coin, or in this case with the core, the other core, you have to black out the entire bingo grid.
Okay.
And this is not easy. The middle square happens to be 100 days, so that's what I'm working on, because my longest streak is 86 days. And yeah, I actually remember what happened at the end of that streak, or maybe it's 86. I don't remember anymore. But we had been to Disneyland. I drove. My kids were playing at Disneyland, but they flew down. And I was the person driving all the instruments down. I managed to get a geocache for every single day we were in Disneyland. And it was the day we came back. That's the day I was not able to get one because we were running behind and had to make it back to drop off the instruments and pick up my kids at the airport. And it just kind of fell apart. So I was like, okay. So I started the next day, and then I got sick. So like, I'm done. So, but oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at this right now.
Yeah.
This is a lot
It's
of
brutal.
work.
It's brutal.
So
And-
it's all different streaks.
Yes. And right now I've got close to half. I've got B1. B1 I already had. G1 I already had. Yeah, that's difficulty 3 and under, terrain 3 and under. I just finished doing virtual caches. I've got traditionals already. I'm working on the 1 difficulty 1 terrain right now, in addition to doing the 100. I've got the 25 days of micros. I've got the 15 days of mysteries. I've got the 10 days of 7-day lonely caches and the 3 days of month lonely caches. And I also just finished 25 days of difficulty 3 and above. The one that's going to be the most difficult for me on here is 5 days in a row of 5 caches. Partially because there aren't a lot of them around here, and partially because I am very rotund.
I don't think it really matters on anybody's physical condition. Just getting 5 days in a row with 5 D5 T5 caches is a huge challenge. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
May I interrupt, Land Monkey? Would you share your screen? GSM times 2 wants to see what we're talking about.
All right, hang tight.
And while you're doing that,
yeah,
I'll toss in that IHAM says, Limax, we got caught by that same August. We got our year streak mid-August, but had to keep going.
Yeah. 2013 was the year I decided that I was going to finish finding a cache on every single day of the year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I pretty much did myself in doing that.
All right. So for those watching along at home, this is what Limax is telling us about.
So if you want to play along at home, go ahead and pull up the bingo card.
Yeah.
No kidding. So what it says, detailed grid requirements, if you can't read this because it is a little hard to read. In fact, what I'll do is I'll make just the grid itself larger. One moment, please. Your call is important to me.
So narrow your window and it may fit the screen better. Share, but maybe not.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to mess with it right now because I'm going to screw something up. But in the meantime, so you've got like 25 days, 15 days, 3 days, 25 days, 5 days. So what Doug's saying is it's not just you need 25 days somewhere in the calendar where you have a D3 and under find. No. You need 25 days in a row of finding caches that are D3 or under. It's like, okay, well, that's not too bad. Yeah, you're right. That's not too bad. You need 15 days in a row of finding small size caches. Okay. Also not too bad.
That should be, well, small may be tougher to find. I mean, micros are all
Easier,
around.
Yeah. But easier than a large or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you need 3 days in a row with the scuba attribute on a cache. Now, depending where you live, that may be a tall order.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it isn't that difficult out here because we've got several liars caches. And because of liar caches, that icon, that attribute is on them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at this grid overall, and for where we live here and the kind of caches that are around where we live here, this is almost impossible.
And I'm trying to think, he lives in Ontario, doesn't he?
He does. He lives in central Ontario.
Komakino says, I would ignore this challenge.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you on that. Go
Okay.
again.
Yeah, and seriously, the only reason I'm doing this is like, okay, I've got a shiny thing at the end of it, plus I've got the curiosity factor going for me, and it's
Mhm.
that curiosity factor that's really got me hooked. It's like
Mhm.
I don't want anybody to be able to send messages that I can't receive. It's
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Land Monkey, did I see the bottom right corner was 3 lonely caches?
Yes. So
What
that's three caches.
determines lonely?
It
I
has
mean,
not been found for at least 1 month.
Yeah.
okay, that's not too
his,
bad.
And he
his
says right
rating.
here, let me read the actual text. It says 3 days with a cache which has not been found for 1 month or greater.
3
Same
days in a
date
row?
minus 1 month, i.e., find July 15th means that the previous listed must be June 15th or older.
Mhm.
So he's making it very easy, not have to count days or anything like that. Just
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's lonely caches, people have different definitions of what a lonely cache is, and I'm
Mhm.
thinking, there if it's 60, 80, or 60, 90, 120 days, there aren't that many of those, and that would be a real challenge.
Depends
Yeah.
where you are. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Brylang doesn't consider 1 month. He's claiming a year. I would
Right.
say generally for me, I consider a cache lonely if it's been somewhere between 3 months to a year that it hasn't been found.
Yeah.
And again, right, it depends on where you are. Like in our area, there are caches that can go for months and months without a find on them. It's not
Mhm.
Yeah.
unusual.
Especially over the winter.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
around here, it's not too difficult because, Bay Area puzzle caches.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and puzzle caches in general can easily go a month without a find.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. So that
Wet
one's
Coaster also
surprisingly not that
agrees that
hard.
he thought a lonely cache was a year or more unfound.
Yeah. But if you looked at the square at the bottom left, it says 7 days lonely. So he's got a couple of lonely streaks in there, but he wanted to make it achievable in this case. I mean,
Mhm.
trying to find, try to go 3 days in a row with caches that have been not found for a year would be next to impossible. And he's trying to make it achievable with being challenging.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think all of this though, it's all relative to where you live and what the caching situation is like, the population of geocachers, because you can go to some places that are a little more rural and like maybe there's only 5 geocachers who live in the community, right? And you got to travel a big distance to try and get anything like this.
Mhm.
Or
Right.
you might live in a super cache dense location, right? So it's
Yeah.
all or you've cached everything out, right? Or
Well, I mean, this is true of this challenge, but in the chat, we're also hearing of GSM times 2 to, get the iconic challenge. He had to drive 75 miles from home to get an Earth cache,
Mm.
that's a distance.
right?
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. The Earth cache one's going to be difficult for me because I have gotten all my close in Earth caches.
Mhm.
Um, what's really bad is there are 3 Earth caches in a single park. And it's like, okay, do I want to go back to that park 3 days in a row?
Right.
Yeah. And so it's mixing it up in such a way to make it interesting for me and keeping me entertained.
Oh, I like Skyhawker here. This sounds a lot like going to school every day, taking classes you dislike so you can get a job that you go to every day that you dislike. Torture.
That's
It's not for everybody, and we're just gonna see how far I can get with it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
good
it's
for you for taking this on, Doug. And you'll have to keep us posted.
I will.
Send in some updates on your
Mm-hmm.
progress because my goodness, this so again, just to recap for everybody, and here I'll share the screen again just so one more time, just so people can see what we're talking about here. But just to recap, the objective, Doug, is that you have to just get 5 in a row, either horizontally or vertically, anywhere on this bingo chart. Is that correct?
No, I have to black it out.
A complete
So you
blackout.
have to do all 25 challenges.
Yes, I have to
Mhm.
do all 25 challenges.
Oh,
A
so it's
bingo
not
would be
bingo.
easy. I could do a bingo, but it's the blackout that's going to be really difficult.
Yeah,
And
I'm not interested anymore.
yeah, 100, the 100 days, my 100 days will be up in December. I started September 1st. Actually, I actually started late August when we were still in Montana, and then I missed a day. It's like, okay, so we're starting over, but it had only been like 3 or 4 days, so it's not like, at this point I'm halfway through. I think it's December 10th will be 100 days, but since I am a numbers person, I'm going to go to December 21st because that's 111 days.
Ah, there you go. Hey, our
see what you've done
caching
there.
streak for Laura and I, we went 555 days because we had hit a year and we're like, oh, we'll keep going. And then I was getting close to 500, and I'm like, half century, is it 500? That's a pretty good number. Maybe we'll stick with that. And then I was looking a little bit more.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a little more fun with the numbers. And then by the time I hit 555, I was like, yeah, no, I'm done.
yeah. And Piffle Bear has not been caching lately. She's been incredibly busy with school and everything else. But it was funny because when I was talking to her about the 5.5 cache, she goes, I can't go on those with you. I was like, I know.
That's not necessarily true,
No,
right? I mean,
but
we have some caches around here that are 5 difficulty if you have a certain phobia.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the 5.5s, and a lot of what I'm finding here are the older challenge caches back when you could mark any difficulty
Right.
terrain.
Spell a
And
word or
yeah, I'm not even close to getting those challenges at all. I found that I'm a lot closer to getting some challenges than I thought I was. But yeah, and I'm just trying to see how far I can get with this. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. But it's that curiosity factor that's got me going.
Yeah.
And the most difficult part for that, seriously, is getting 100 days in a row.
Yes.
The rest of it can be done in smaller chunks, and I'm double and triple dipping right now to get as many squares as I can. So
Right. Part of that 100 days could be, 7-day lonely caches.
yeah,
Right.
that's one of the first ones I got.
Mhm.
And actually, I found out, oh, wait a minute, you did that way back in 2012. I said, I did. That's one of the harder ones to check because you'd have to actually go through your logs and then look at the previous log.
Yeah.
And thankfully, somebody has written a challenge checker to actually go back and look. And it's like, well, you
That's
have
what I
to
was
make
gonna ask.
sure, it's like, make sure you're the only one found it. And and if you were second, it was found with someone. So, because, Piffle Bear and we went up to Benicia on admissions day because it was free day to visit the Capitol. Now, this is the old Capitol building that's in Benicia, California, as opposed to the one in Sacramento. But she accidentally typed in her log and sent it before I got to send mine. I said, well, as long as you put that you cached with me, I'm good. So yeah.
Very cool.
Once again, Limax, the challenge you're working on, it's a published geocache, and
It is a published geocache.
What is that GC code again?
It's GC3 Delta 5 Echo Bravo.
GC 5 Delta
3 Delta. I'll say it slower. GC 3 Delta 5 Echo Bravo.
Well, that's what I wrote. Oh, there you go.
And it's called the Iron Bingo Challenge, is what it is called. Yes, and yeah, the Brylang's got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other iron or any other bingo challenges from the Bruce?
That was the only that he had. A couple of other ones that were older that aren't published anymore. There was a couple iron challenges he also had way back when, but
yeah, he loves his challenge caches. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was. It's just very interesting because, it was actually one of the last ones he said. One of the last updates he said on Indiegogo. I think it was right before Cash the Line closed. Yeah, on there, and there was he was talking about the Lonely Wolf and the Iron Coin. I'm going, well, what are these? Because being so late to the game, it's like, oh, those must be gone already. So no, you still can get you can still get the Lone Wolf one, and because only about half those have been claimed. It's like, great. That one was relatively easy because he had 12 videos that you needed to watch that were on a geocaching adventure that he took to one of the loneliest virtuals to get to. And it was the videos themselves were fascinating. It was a lot of fun, and you had to find a word in 11 out of the 12 videos. And I think at this point, it's getting close to, if it isn't already closed. I mean, that the 50 that he had slotted for that are probably gone by this point.
Okay.
But
I have another question about the Iron Bingo.
yeah,
You don't have to go out and find these right now. You could have found them in the past, right?
That
You
is
could have done
correct.
this streak in the past.
Yes.
So there is a challenge checker on project-gc.com to help you with this.
There is. It's
Okay.
linked at the bottom, and it actually checks every single square except for a few. There
Okay.
are a couple other challenge checkers on there if you just search for Iron Bingo in Canada, that will actually give you your bingo grid and show which ones you've done. And so I've been using that. It's like every day it's like, okay, I did find a cache. Am I updated? Good, I'm updated, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's because if you miss a day, you miss a day, and
you got to start over.
Yeah. And I'm over 50 days into this at this point, and I think if I had to start over, I'd probably just not do it. But right now I am still doing okay. I don't feel burnt out. And in this case, I can see an ending date with it. Yeah, and it isn't as long as it was back in 2013, where I was trying to fill out my calendar, which in retrospect I shouldn't have tried to do in a single year. Because it was okay, is this is a day I need to go find a cache, and I ended up with 640 caches found that year. That is my highest that I've ever found in a year, and I have never even come close to that again. I'm usually between 100 and 200 caches found in a year. 2022 was an exception, but that's only because of August and finding 125 caches in that month due to some celebration that happened.
Huh.
And the fact that I was trying to get all the counties to and from Canada too, that I was stopping through.
640 caches. That sounds like a Land Monkey weekend.
Yeah, I just ran the challenge checker out of curiosity myself. This is
Let's see. Bryling says, one checker says I completed the diagonal from upper left to lower right.
There you go.
So that's really all you need to to actually find the challenge, is you need to do a bingo. But he's just added this extra incentive for the yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow. Crazy. Anyways, very fun.
Yep.
There we go. So
yeah.
All sorts of different challenges involved. Well, 25 different types of challenges involved in the single challenge.
Yeah.
Bryling shared the Project GC challenge checker for that particular one.
Thank you, Bryling. Very good.
Yeah. And there is actually two others if you do search on Project GC. The three came up.
What a great community Project GC is, isn't it? That people will go out and create challenge checkers for you.
Yeah. My membership is almost up, and I need to renew it here soon.
Yep, definitely.
And I'm definitely going to do that.
Would encourage that.
Doramore.
Great feedback there. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead, Land Monkey.
Doramore has some feedback there saying working on streaks, challenges, etc., has inspired her to do new things and stretch her physical abilities. So good on you. says, but I do try to keep it reasonable and know your limit, cash within it. Awesome.
Gee, that sounds a lot like what Piffle Bear keeps telling me. But she also says a lot of the time, boy, you're such a boy. Because I'm the one that goes diving into the bushes, and while she's looking around the outside, I dive in and she goes, well, isn't it right here?
Yeah, but that's not the point. You see,
No, that's not
I
the
have
point.
a chance to draw blood, and this makes it a contact sport.
Exactly. Draw blood, tear a piece of clothing. Yeah.
Kitty Quest says, do you actually have to find the cache and sign the log to earn the core? Was not clear on that from the I was not clear on that from his description.
I do not think you do. I believe, I mean, if I actually had to physically go to Canada, I would never do it.
Okay.
But
Hey.
I think I believe that if you show proof that you have done it, he will send you a coin.
Okay.
A core. Yeah.
And Kitty Quest says, apologies for all the all caps. I didn't mean to yell. I really am a quiet person.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I've met her, so
Oh, that's funny. Good stuff. So there you go. So yeah, you don't have to actually find it to find the cache itself to earn the core if that's what you're after.
Mhm.
And yeah, great project. It was fun having Jeff on the podcast to talk about that as well. Really interesting. You know, a lot of people create geocoins and publish geocoins, but Jeff, I think, went definitely the extra mile in coming up with a whole ethos around the coins,
Mhm.
and the cores, and everything. It's a pretty fun project.
and cryptography being one of my hobbies, I mean, it's just it touched that little piece of me.
It
You know,
clearly it got a lot of people excited. He did really well with the Indiegogo,
Yeah.
one, which is fantastic.
yeah. His latest update from Indiegogo talked about the different cores that were going to be available, and actually gave a description of what what you would get, in order to get whatever cores you got. And I've got, it's like I've got 3 out of the 4 cores coming to me. Because I've got the
Wow.
I got the lone wolf, got the Patreon, and then I got the set. And so I'm getting all 3 of those in addition to the rose core, which just comes with it. So
Okay, so that was kind of the reason why you did the Iron Challenge, isn't it? You've got all the others. You want the complete set.
There you go.
At least it's not like Pokemon.
That's true. You got to catch them all. I do like your little tagline there. It says residential mathematician. So does that mean you only do math in the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I do math in the great outdoors, I have a tendency to have a bird land on me.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I feel like there's a story behind that.
Oh, no, not much of one. No, I've been attacked by mockingbirds before, but yeah.
I've been accused of mocking, but not as a bird. There we go. I'll just drop the mic.
Skyhawker says to Bryling, he says, now, after Bryling got the horizontal bingo or the diagonal bingo there, now spend $1,500 to go to Ontario to sign the log.
Yeah.
How is gas
Bryling
prices
says-
in Canada right now?
I spent almost $1,000 earlier this month.
Yeah. In our neck of the woods, it's what is it? About $1.76, $1.77 per liter right now.
Okay, so that's about what it was when I was there a year ago. So
There you go.
yeah, okay.
$1.60 per
In
liter
Abbotsford.
in Abbotsford.
Yeah.
Abbotsford is like, so there's like this imaginary line where taxation changes here in BC. So fuel tax. So it's slightly higher on my side of the line, slightly 10 cents ish cheaper on Brian's side.
Yeah. Well, California's got so many taxes on their fuel. Yeah, it's ours really is the highest in the country. I remember
ours was here in Washington for a little bit. We outpaced you for a bit, and I'm like, what is going on?
when my daughter and I drove down from Klamath Falls on the way back south, just as we were getting close to the California border, somebody had a homemade sign up. It's like, last chance to get cheap gas before you get to California.
There you go.
We went down to California this summer, and I was paying less in California than I did in Washington. And I couldn't believe it. Never happened before.
Wow.
Now, Brylang says that's about $1.35 per U.S. gallon. I'm sorry, $4.35 for U.S. gallon. I think I paid $4.37 today.
We are, right around $5 at the moment. Where some places a little bit less. I think I paid $4.88 the other day, but I had a discount. So.
There you go. Well, what do you think, guys? Have we exhausted the topic?
I'm really happy geocaching is free.
So am I.
Relatively speaking. Yes.
Oh, I had to throw that in there. Sorry.
No apologies.
UDAC says $4.
Indeed.
Yes. Well, okay.
UDAC is going to be more expensive than we are, I think.
And Starcacher in Ohio filled up at $2.99 a gallon this evening. Let's all drive to Ohio and fill up.
Yep.
Wait.
Yep.
All right.
I'm sorry. There's a couple that here are funny. Brian Link says, I can't wait for the good GIF for some new hashtag geocaching memes. Geocaching is free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, that was one of the best GIF films ever in my estimation, and has established that meme.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so solidly across globally in the community.
The other one that stuck with me is it's not trash, it's a geocache.
Nope. Don't want to hear it.
Okay, then.
Gonna talk over you.
Toss it any old place. The cache owner doesn't care where you put it back.
Brylang. Limax. Brylang, wake up. Limax, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's my pleasure.
And listeners, thank you for joining in this evening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
Indeed. And we want to take a moment to thank Land Sharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our corporate Denali level sponsors. LANDSHARKZ.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. Remember, they're shipping those online orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures, check out exploregoldcountry.com. We want to thank all of our faithful Denali level supporters and sponsors, Land Sharks, Gold Country Geotourism, of course, but also Groovy Owl, Cool Cow Cachers, and Cachly, the geocaching app. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting this show, well, just make sure you head on over and click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
Like show contributor tonight, Skyhawker.
Indeed, and like Genies.
And like another one of our friends from HQ, Mountain Bike.
And Boomer365.
Wet Coaster.
Green Words.
Alarobrick.
M-Nerve.
Kev MacD.
B Pendragon.
MC3 Cats.
GSM. A Times Do.
And Teus.
Trexter.
Kitty Quest.
Ackerdoc.
Wino Seattle.
Another one of our friends from HQ, Geocaches.
Korsgott.
Doramore.
Another one of our friends from HQ, Ari54321.
You would think we worked this out, but it's completely random each month or each week, folks. I promise. Where were we? How about just Carlo?
How about Seebeck Tribe?
Another one of our kidding. Team Noltex.
A former lackey, LG 9000.
About nervous energies.
Hey, did you know Nervous Energies was featured in the HQ blog?
Yes, we
nice.
should have him on and talk. He seems like a very interesting fellow.
Seems a little nervous, but yeah.
But
He's a
lots of
little
energy.
shaky.
Yeah. Next on the list, Flagman. Hard to stand up quickly.
You don't have to. It's okay.
I know, but I feel like I got to do
You,
the whole
you,
thing.
you know they can't hear you on the radio on the
Well,
on the
they do when I
podcast.
say
You
it was
stand up.
hard to stand up. So it's just like radio drama.
CRS 98.
Sega Hove.
You, Dak.
You talks to rocks.
Just finding our way.
Hey, that guy right over there, Limax.
J Car
Log work.
Geo Nav Pro.
active in the chat. Active in the chat. Camp Clan. I'm enunciating.
Gas station tuna.
BC Rock Crawler.
Kid Vegas 19.
RAR 285.
Peach of, we understand currently, Washington.
And Subway Mark. Oh. There's nervous energies. It's all about the
All the
coffee.
coffee.
Yes, coffee. I need more
Must have
coffee.
coffee. Folks, thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website. If you didn't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. In either case, if you like the vibe, please subscribe wherever you
Ooh,
get your
nice.
podcast.
I like that.
And give us a review. Now, if you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. And of course, you can call into 253-693-TFTC and leave a comment, ask us a question, or help us with our bingo squares any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cashingnw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat. Now, I ask you to stay tuned for
The after show.
Ooh, that was cool.
the after show.
Ooh, after the show.
Fun. Chris, I gotta say, kudos for your new closing. And I don't know how many people I interrupted you in the middle of it, and I didn't even throw you off because normally, every once in a while,
Oh, did you say anything? I just tune out and go.
good, because that was one of your best, despite me trying to throw you off your game.
When we were at the theater doing the live 500th episode and we had that echo and I tried to read the end of it, I realized, okay, I could just focus on what I'm reading and stop listening with my ears. And it was like, okay, you really had to concentrate on it, but I could get through it. So I learned a new skill on how not to listen while I'm talking.
So you listened with your eyes instead?
Yes,
Ooh.
I listen with my eyes.
All right. Do we have
And my
any
ears can
FTAs?
see you.
Do we have any
Wait.
FTAs?
Apparently there is no spoon. Oh, excuse me, fatas.
Oh,
That can't be. That can't be.
If the chat lackey says there's no FTAS, there's no FTAS.
He would know.
All right. Well, here, I'll throw a FTAS in. A shameless self-promotion FTAS.
Oh no, we're done. Good night.
New episode of Land Monkeys Geocaching Adventures. Come and romp around Rotterdam with us in
Are
Friday
you romping
afternoon.
in Rotterdam?
yeah.
You rascal.
Indeed. So check it out this Friday afternoon. The new episode goes live.
Fantastic.
Yeah. There you go. Other than that, I guess with no FTAS, and we say, oh, well, here's something we're going to throw as a FTAS. Yeah. Wet Coasters says Cache Canada is now a West Coast cacher. He is. Our friends from Cache Canada have just, as of this week, relocated themselves to Kelowna, British Columbia, and we're excited to have more caching adventures with our vlogging friends, Cache Canada. That'd be awesome.
Very nice. Now I want to meet them in person.
Great
I
people.
think I have, but now it can be longer.
There
right?
you go. I'm
Not
sure
just
you met them at
passing
Geo
it
Woodstock. Yeah.
and
I was going to
passing
say,
it a
weren't they on the
big
stage
event.
at Geo Woodstock?
Yes, Dave was up there. I
Mhm.
don't think Karen came up. I think just Dave did when we did the vloggers panel.
Yeah.
Y-
And IHAM is making me hungry.
Apple dumplings, hashtag podcast speaking.
Yum, yum. All right. Well, great show, Doug. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we talked a little bit about math and stats and numbers and just generally got caught up on caching with you.
Yeah, I mean, and it was actually seriously still all about the numbers,
Mhm.
because of the streaks. And as I have always said in the past, it's like each number is a new milestone. And even though I'm doing this piece right now, that's what I still firmly believe. And if it wasn't for what was at the end of this one, I wouldn't even be considering it. I don't cache for numbers. I actually mainly cache for places and what I can
Oh,
find.
interesting.
Yeah. Or if it happens to be a Friday, I just go out into the country. It's like, oh, is there a cache here? Oh, look, here's one. And
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, usually my Fridays off consists of maybe finding 2 or 3 caches, if that, because I'm mainly just driving around enjoying the countryside.
Mhm.
There you go.
Mhm. I cache for relaxation mostly.
Yeah.
Now there are times I want to do the cache machines or go out and find a bunch at a time. But you know what? 2 or 3, just walking through the woods is so relaxing to me. It's
Mhm.
therapeutic. So
Yeah. When I was doing work in Massachusetts, after work, I would go find a trailhead at the side of the road and just go in and find a few caches at the end of work. And I got no idea what kind of trees I was in the middle of there, but whatever they were beautiful. And it was, it was just one of those things. It was nice after having to work all day to be out there in the woods.
Yep, that's what it's all about. Folks, thanks for joining us so much. Until next week, get out in the woods and get caching in the Northwest.